Hello, here we go. It's the Cop-Out Podcast.
What is happening, the Reds? How are we doing? Welcome back to another Cop-Out Podcast. And I haven't really got a name for this show. I just thought we'd just wing it and just call it like... I was going to go pre-season press episode 2, but I thought, fuck it, let's just have a little chat about the pre-season games and how everyone's feeling about them, whatever else. But yeah, delighted to be joined by Ste Carson, and I haven't had Ste on since 2019, back in the Spotify-only days, so we get to see his beautiful face on video for the first time. So nice one, Ste, for jumping on.
Oh, nice one, very much.
And we've got Dan Kelly, who's a sports illustrator on Twitter, YouTube, everything. He does a load of boss stuff. So I was pleased to invite him on and get him on. Obviously, we've got a little partnership coming up very soon. Obviously, we've started it, but it's gonna kick into action a bit more seriously soon. So nice one for coming on. I appreciate it.
No worries. Glad to be here.
Nice one, boys. But yeah, what we do, well, we don't usually do it on these shows, but I just thought a little icebreaker and get going before we chat about the friendlies and whatever else. Put a little tweet out yesterday asking for some 2-minute bottle questions, which is just a little random question. But like I said to you before we started, there was too many, and we usually pick one. And I thought, fuck, I'm going to have to pick 2 here. So the first one is, this is from Dave on Twitter. If you could remaster a computer game from your childhood to present day graphics, what game would you pick and why? So I don't know who wants to jump in first on that one.
Go on, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead. The problem is that the ones I'd choose have probably already been remastered. Man's like, I was really into Need for Speed Underground 2 and the Tony Hawk games. And both of those have kind of, Need for Speed kind of still going. Tony Hawk's has pretty much been remade, the exact one that I played. So I would say both of those, but you can't really replace the nostalgia of actually getting the PS1 up and actually playing it, the original games, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. What are you thinking, Dan?
Yeah, same really. I think the games back in the day, I wouldn't really remaster them myself. I think Crash Bandicoot for me was the best game I had in the world growing up, other than FIFA. But Crash Bandicoot for me, I don't know whether a new one's come out recently. Has a new one actually been put out recently, or probably already been remastered? But I'm just not onto it.
To be honest, I think I might have it, but it was a few years back. I've played it a few times, and it is decent, to be fair. But like you said, Steve, it's not unlike getting the old computer, crack that open and play it on that, because it's just nothing better, is there? But no. Yeah, for me, I've had a little think, and I've gone for. Well, Dave said that would be the World Cup '98 road to the FIFA Road to the World Cup '98, I think it's called. But that was just a proper iconic game for me back in the day. Another one, any of the Metal Gear Solids, I fucking absolutely adored them when I was growing up.
I was never into them,
No?
Never into them. No, I was more of an Command and Conquer type of lad. I think it was a similar sort of game, but yeah, I was never into. I was more strategic.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Well, you've took that into your present day vacation now, lad. That's why you're so good at what you're doing, eh? Little cheesy plug there for you. And another one I was thinking of actually is GoldenEye 007. I don't know if you've played that one. That's
classic.
Classic. Hours and hours spent just absolutely going fucking berserk on that when I was a kid.
Should just do a podcast about talking about them games, You sit here all night.
I know, to be fair, I've wrote quite a bit of a list there, and I thought, no, I'm not going to read these out because it'd be fucking 20 minutes long. But let's have a look in the comments here. We've got Doug's gone for Tomb Raider 2. What else have we got here? Moving Unit. Yeah, a full remaster of all 3 old Crashes and a completely new Crash this year. There you go, Dan, lad, get on them.
There we go, yeah. Have to go. I've got a PlayStation 4 there. I'll have to see if I can get one.
Yeah, Defo. But speaking of, the Moving Unit just put a comment in there. So the second question, like I said, I couldn't pick one, so I had to go for this one as well. Name an album or a single you've bought that you are ashamed of. So does anyone want to chime in with that one? Anyone going to jump straight in with Steps or fucking S Club 7 or something? Or?
Do you know what? I'll go first. I didn't buy this because I was too young, but I asked for it. And I bought 3 singles at the same time. One of them was Wheatus, Teenage Dirtbag. The other one was Shaggy, and it wasn't me. And the third one The third one was Britney Spears, and I can't remember the name of the album, but I asked my ma for it when I was a kid.
Love that.
Absolute shocker.
Oh dear, you saved the best for last there.
To be honest, mine is probably, if I had to think a bit harder, I mean, I know we were talking about Steps before we started recording, that is probably on there, Steps one. But definitely S Club 7. I remember being like an 8-year-old kid thinking, fucking hell, get me an S Club, get me an S Club 7 or S Club 8 or something. It's a proper fanboy. What are you thinking, Ste?
Yeah, no, I had a little look at my collection behind me just then. And the worst one in there is James Blunt's Greatest Hits. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I was feeling when I was a teenager, but apparently that's what I wanted. The most recent song I've actually bought is that new song by that teenager Olivia Rodrigo, "Good for You," and it just reminds me of Paramore. I don't know whether you'd maybe class that as a little bit embarrassing. Maybe you might not expect someone like us to be listening to that kind of music, but you know, here we are.
No, lads, we embrace all music styles on this fucking footy podcast where we should be talking about footy. But boys, yeah, great shouts there. But yeah, we'll jump straight into the footy then. Obviously, we just fucking took 6 minutes up talking about fucking Steps and whatever else. So, Monday, was it Monday? Or was it Tuesday? I'm getting mixed up with days. It was Tuesday, wasn't it, the first
Tuesday afternoon, was it?
Yeah, Tuesday. First game against Wacker, however you're saying it. But who do you think stood out in that game? Obviously, it finished 1-1. Origi bagged a very, well, I was going to say dodgy penalty, but it was never a penalty in a million years, that one. That was just a pure, what the fuck's the ref doing? But then Origi bagged it anyway. But who stood out for you in that game, Dan, in terms of lineup? Because obviously there was quite a few big names in there, like Trent and Matip and Minamino, Origi, Ben Davis as well made an appearance. So who caught your eye in that one?
It was hard to tell really because they were only short games, weren't they? So you couldn't really. I think Matip, funnily enough, for a centre back, he looked sharp, didn't he? He looked like some of his moves were quick. Some of his he seems skillful. That's for some sections of that game. But yeah, Matip's the only one who really caught my eye in the short time that we had. His footwork looked good. He looked sharp, and hopefully he can gain some fitness and stay consistent going into the new season. Like,
yeah, that's all we need, and it's obviously he's when he is on top form. Obviously, we've seen the little clips from training where he's like doing fucking step overs and looking like Ronaldinho and whatever. But we need to see that. Obviously, we've seen it in the Premier League, but we need to see it for a prolonged period where he's not. I mean, he's great, but he just needs to stay fit, doesn't he, and do it for a long period of time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, that's been a big problem with Matip over the years. He's played like 3-4 games and then he's out for a month. It's a pain, you know what I mean? But I think with Konate coming into the squad now as well, there'll be a little bit less pressure on Matip, and you know, hopefully there'll be less times they'll get injured. And I'm quite excited as well to see how the likes of Kometio go forward, you know, because they were obviously promising last pre-season. But I'd like to see a bit more of them because obviously Kometio was on the bench against Stuttgart and Wacker. So I'd like to see him maybe make a little cameo against Mainz.
Yeah, defo. I mean, we're only half an hour games, weren't they? So there's not much actually to delve into apart from the penalty and some good movements from the attackers. And Origi looked okay, didn't he? I mean, Minamino was looking out to see what he could do, and obviously that's probably not enough time to kind of see what people are about. Obviously, we know what he's about, and he's a good little technical player. But 30 minutes isn't probably enough time to show it during pre-season. But in that second game, then there was obviously a load more of the big hitters in there, weren't there? Obviously, there was Mane, Salah, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, Elliott, Konate, Tsimikas. So I mean, obviously Stuttgart are obviously a much better team than Wacker were. But who were your standouts in that one, Dan, in the second game?
For me, again, it was Keita, but there wasn't much of it. But Keita he captures me for small moments, and I'm like, I don't know whether the jury's still out on him, but I feel like he's got magic in his feet, and I don't know what it is. It's not his injury run, because obviously he can't really help that. He's made the glass, isn't he? But sometimes he'll skip around a couple of players, and you think, oh, this lad's mustard. He's boss. Get him in the squad. But then other times he goes completely quiet, and he doesn't seem to step up in the big moments. But from what I've seen from the other day, again, he looked sharp enough to catch my attention and go, you know, his footwork is exceptional sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's it. And he does look really good on the eye, doesn't he? When he glides through midfield and he's got that burst of pace and he those little step overs, and he can play a pass and he can shoot from range. He's got everything, but it's in a similar vein to Matip, really, that he's just not fit enough and available enough for us. So this season, if he can keep himself fit, it's a huge one for him, isn't it?
Yeah,
massive.
I mean, as Dan just said then, you know, pretty much he is class but made of glass. Quality footballer, you know, you see flashes, and I'm not even speaking out of terms. You see flashes of the likes of Iniesta sometimes when he's really at the top of his game, and it's a shame that he's had the injury problems that he's had over the years, because there is a world-class footballer and on his day, one of the best players in the league, I genuinely believe. In terms of that game, though, another player who stood out for me was Tsimikas. I thought he'd done really well. Again, it was just a half an hour period, so there's only so much you can see. But he was lightning up and down the left-hand side, and he was doing things you'd expect from Robbo. And that we're talking about the best left-back in the world there. If he's doing flashes of that throughout his game, there's a player there. And obviously last season we didn't get to see too much of him because defensive injuries, I think, kind of forced Klopp to play his senior most right-back and left-back, so we didn't see too much of him. I think, even though it's a bit of a cliche, I think he'll feel like a new signing this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got the talent, hasn't he? Like he showed it before he signed for us, that when he played against Arsenal, I think in a Europa League game, I think it was, and he looked really good. And he obviously had a torrid time last year, didn't he? But I think he got COVID, and then he had a lot of injuries. So yeah, it's.
I think in addition to that,
start for him, couldn't he? Go on,
in addition to that, Robbo's just a machine, and he plays every game. So, as you said, he could be a new signing to us, but it's whether you want to give Robbo a rest, because I don't. If Robbo can play every game, play him every game. He's as you said, he's if not the best left back in the world. So it's a tough place to be, a backup left back for Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah, and it's the same on the right, isn't it? Because we've got Trent, and you don't want to take away that output from those two, which are just obviously they're just the best in the world, aren't they? So yeah, it is difficult to try and find someone who is A, good enough, B, wants to stick around and knows that they're going to be second fiddle and just play now and again. Obviously, maybe the domestic cups might be the best opportunity for them, but obviously Premier League and Champions League, if we're any of those games, I'd always want to see Trent and Robbo, unless we're obviously secure in the group or the tie's over in terms of we're so far ahead where we can maybe take a chance and put one of those in. But apart from that, yeah, it's definitely keep them in because they're just too good. But Doug's just put a comment in, obviously, about I think Karius was involved in the first game, so just want to get you guys' opinion on this. What are you thinking about Karius? It's should have been severed a long time ago, that one, shouldn't it? I think.
I've got pretty strong opinions when it comes to goalkeepers. The mistake, don't get me wrong, he was okay leading up to that final, but he always had that mistake in him, even leading up to it, quarterfinals, semi-finals, all through the season. You were like, oh, he's gonna do something bad, and everyone felt it. I don't know what it is with Liverpool, but they just love paying wages to people who aren't good enough, and it's like people give him the benefit of the doubt because he's okay sometimes, but for me, it's just like it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. It's not unforgivable, but his level's not high enough for it to stay, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, Ste, you echoing that, I imagine.
Yeah, I can only echo what he said there. I think Karius is a good enough goalkeeper. Obviously, you don't beat what's his name? Neuer. You don't beat Neuer to goalkeeper of the world in the Bundesliga for nothing. The talent's obviously there. But in terms of a Liverpool shirt, he's done. I think he knows he's done. Everyone knows he's done. It's a matter of time of just finding someone to actually buy him now more than anything. Because obviously he's been out on a couple of loans. His last 2 loans have ended in nightmare for him. Didn't play much in the last loan he went on to. And Besiktas obviously went a bit controversial in terms of paying wages and stuff. So I think it's in his best interest and everyone's best interest if he just moves on, finds a good club, maybe back in Germany or somewhere else in Europe. And yeah, you know.
Yeah, just a fresh break, innit? Like a fresh, not. It's like the Gruge thing as well. Like he's been at the club for God knows how long, and he's just keeping him going out on loan, and he comes back, and it's like, is he going to make it this time? And it's like ultimately you knew he never was going to. Gruge was never going to make the cut, albeit he is a good footballer. You just knew it was never going to happen. So I think it's a similar one where a clean cut is best for club and player, and I think this is another one of them, innit? But good to see Jay in the comments there. Nice one, Jay.
I think it's
sorry.
I'm losing a bit of sound here. I think it's like in any other profession, though. Like you wouldn't keep someone around in any profession, in any job, in any company with that level of mistake. Like you can compare it to like anything. You go look at postman. If a postman puts two wrong letters through 2 wrong doors, it becomes a thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, are you good enough to be a postman? And at Liverpool, you just don't seem to get that same level of scrutiny when you make those big mistakes.
Yeah, I think especially after we signed Alisson as well, and you see just what a real goalie should be doing for the level of Liverpool, then you realise just how bad we had it in a way. I mean, Karius did have some good games for us, no denying that, but yeah, it's just time to go on it for him on that front. But let's have a little look through the comments. Cole's just said that Karius needs to move on, never settle for okay, which is what we've just been saying there. Rivalry aside, TV, Karius couldn't even catch a cold. Fair play. Yeah, agree with that. After fucking Kiev, fuck's sake. Another one from Doug. Karius can't carry anything, can't carry the ball, just need to change his name to Dropius or Spilius. Fucking hell. Just go full Greek with the surname, like, fucking hell.
And that's the thing, people can be, when you make them mistakes, people be too harsh on them, like, that the treatment he's had from some of the fans is shocking, to be fair, but it's not his fault, he's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's easy to, like, scapegoat him, but he isn't good enough at the end of the day. I think we need to... It's been years, though, since we've had a good backup keeper. I can't remember the last good one we had.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping Keller is going to be that, because I think he's... I mean, if you read Pep Linder's diary today on the Liverpool website, he was saying that, like, Keller has been amazing in training. Speed and reaction cool. looks good. And I think he played 5 games for us last year, and I think even... The first game that he played, I was shitting my pants a little bit because I was like, is he going to be good enough? But once he got that out the way, the remaining 4 games he did play in and he was called upon, there was never a doubt in my mind how good he was, because I think he never lets anything fade him, does he? And I think he's just so good with his feet that I think he can be a good backup for us. And I mean, obviously we've still got Adrian as well as a third who signed a new contract. So there's three keepers there where Karius isn't going to get ahead of any of them. So.
No, I think you're right. I think Kelleher's the second for me, but just based on the calmness he had on the ball and the lack of mistakes he's made, he'd be my first choice other than as a backup keeper, not instead of Valley, obviously.
Yeah, defo. But boys, yeah, let's obviously that Stuttgart game, Mane bagged a decent little goal. Millie, nice ball across to Simicast, like you said. Simicast done well in that game. Got a little assist, and that was a decent little run off for them. But we haven't had a chance to chat about all the Hendo stuff on the channel yet, and I just thought, let's have a little talk about this and see what you think, because obviously a bit of a mad one all this, because I think it was on Monday James Pearce initially tweets it saying that there's talks have stalled and no sign of progressing. And Steve, what were your initial thoughts when you seen that? Did you think it was actually true? Did you think that even might happen, that he might end up leaving next summer?
I mean, obviously following reports came out saying that he could be leaving this summer and next summer, and that didn't really pop into my head. My immediate concern was in 2 years the captain could leave on a free. That was my biggest worry, first and foremost. I don't believe he's going to push for the move. I've seen reports about Arsenal and stuff like that. I don't believe any of those. But yeah, when James Pearce comes out, obviously he carries a lot of weight when James Pearce says something. So when he comes out and says, Liverpool are struggling to get a deal agreed with Henderson here, yeah, obviously I panicked a little bit and read into it and tried to understand it from both sides. And, a part of me, if you remove the emotion from it, a part of me can kind of see where FSG are coming from as a business. But obviously, I don't look at football as a business. It's very difficult to see the way that they're, looking at it. So obviously, if it was down to me, he'd get a new deal, he'd get whatever he wants. He's Jordan Henderson, but I'd have said the same about Gini Wijnaldum, to be honest.
Yeah, Dan, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so mate, when I seen it, one of the lads put it in the group chat to say, "Have you seen this? What's going on? They need to get him signed up ASAP." And I was like, I don't believe anything that I see on social media, even if it's from James Pearce, no matter who it's from, unless it's from the club, I don't believe it. But I'm the same. Why are they stalling on it? No matter what comes out on social media, he's not signed up yet, is he? On a new contract. That's the facts of it. So get him signed up, even if it's only short term. Get him signed up. He's fit enough to play. I think he's only my age. How old is he now? 30?
31, I think.
31, so
yeah,
my age now. You know,
yeah,
I'm not in the best shape of my life, but he's got a good few years left in him. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, and just what he's done for the club, that you don't need to talk much about it, do you? It's there for everyone to see. But yeah, get him signed up. I wouldn't think too much into him getting tempted elsewhere or anything like that, because he won't want to go anywhere. He'll want to put that pen to paper as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because I think he's still got 2 years left on his deal, hasn't he? Like Ravri just said there, he's going to be 33 when his deal runs out. It's a tough call from the club, but that they've got that deal with, definitely the agent fucking about. Yeah, and then Jay's just said, more chance of me growing my hair than Hendo leaving the club. Yeah. It's, you don't...
Same.
Like with the Wijnaldum thing, you don't expect it, but you can kind of see why it happened. Obviously, he's getting to a certain age and whatever else, but to be at the club for 10 years and to be the captain of the club, it's a different circumstance, and it's not the same as the Wijnaldum thing. And I think he is the talisman, and he has led us to all the success over the past 3 years, and he's the centre of all that, isn't he?
And he,
Yeah.
Do you know what? Sorry, Steve, go on.
Yeah, go on. You start.
And he's just as important now as he was as well. I mean, in his early years, he wasn't as important. Looking back, he wasn't at the level that he is now. But when he doesn't play now, you notice it. Like, it's been like that since, I swear, the end of 2014 when we balls the league up the last couple of games. I swear he was injured for the last 3-4 games, and it's since then that everyone noticed how much of a difference he's made in the squad, in the team. And it's not as if he can just set him aside. Like Wijnaldum was sort of, yeah, he does the business, he's fit, and he guards the ball well, and he's a machine. But there's other players around there that can replace Wijnaldum. Henderson's leadership and his calmness, it's hard to find that.
That's it. And he's the captain of the football club, and that really should be carrying more weight than even the reports that we're seeing now are a little bit, I would say, disgraceful, to be honest with you. The fact that it's even coming out. This kind of stuff, if there was any sort of discussions that were going a little bit awry, I feel like they should kind of keep it a little bit quiet, especially with it being the club captain. You know, this is Jordan Henderson. I was obviously a big fan of Wijnaldum, like many Liverpool fans, but it's a different kind of person. He was fourth in command at the club, obviously ever present for 5 years, but we are talking about the club captain, been there for a decade. He is Liverpool Football Club at the minute. You know what I mean? There's going to be kids that'll sort of see him the way maybe we saw the likes of Steven Gerrard once upon a time. This is the kind of person we're talking about. He's going nowhere, and I hope something's sorted out soon, because it's a bit messy at the minute.
Yeah, and I think it's even more muddy when you see there's just shite flying right on Twitter, like linked with Arsenal, and you're just like, what fucking, like, I literally wants to get up that John Henry tweet, like, what are they smoking over there at the Emirates? Like, that's just like, it's just one of them, isn't it? Like, just literally spin a roulette wheel who's going to be linked with to today, and that's going to keep happening up until the point, obviously, when he gets back to training. I imagine it's probably, hopefully, going to get sorted out ASAP, and we can just kind of put this behind us as like a little, don't do this again, like get the contract sorted out. But it's the thing that there's still 2 years left there. Like, I would have understood if it was like 18 months or whatever, and he's coming up to a year left, and then there's question marks if he wants to leave. Are we going to get enough money for him? Is he going to leave on a free? Those start to come into here. But when there's 2 years, there's still enough time there for me to obviously get it sorted. It's not going to be like a Gerrard situation again with Chelsea where he fucking puts in a transfer request or whatever else. It's not going to be anything nowhere near like that, because we're a completely different club to we were back then. So fingers crossed that that gets sorted out very soon, because it needs to be, just so we can move forward and crack on with the season in the best positive way, I think. But boys, yeah, let's move on to another James Pearce tweet, which was yesterday, and it's about a certain Jarrod Bowen. And I mean, he tweeted that he's on our shortlist for potential attacking targets. So I obviously, when I first seen it, I was like, what the fuck's this? What's going on? Is this another little smoke screen for fucking whoever else? But I had a little look. He's 16 days younger than Jota, so they're both 25 in December. He got 8 goals and 5 assists in the league last year, and he featured in every game for West Ham, so we know he's got that availability as well, which is good. Obviously, like the players we've been mentioning who aren't available, he's definitely one that is going to be available. So, like comparatively, like other players we've been linked with, like the likes of Rafinha, I think he got 6 goals and 9 and 30. So it's similar output, but do you think it's like that thing where someone's English or British, like what happened when we signed Andy Robbo, where people are saying he's bang average? What were your initial thoughts on this, Steve, when that link was posted by James Pearce?
Yeah, I caught it late, to be honest with you. It was a couple of hours after it had been. So the first thing I saw was like the reaction to it, and I thought, Christ, who've we been linked with here? I thought we'd been linked with someone from League Two, and I checked who it was, and I was like, well, actually, no, he's quite a decent player. Don't get me wrong, he's not top of my list for signing him on Football Manager. You know what I mean? But he's a tidy little player. You know, like you say, he's available all the time. He doesn't do much wrong, and he's got a bit of creative flair about him. I think he fits the profile of a Jurgen Klopp signing, and there are parallels to Robbo in terms of that. You know, the availability, the tidiness, decent player, perhaps playing at a level that might be not where he should be, maybe you could say. And I think, yeah, you touched upon it there. The fact that he's an English footballer playing an English club, it's not as sexy as maybe like a Spaniard or an Italian, you know, maybe like if he was playing for Valencia, people might go, oh, this lad looks like he could be something. Or even Rafinha, obviously a Brazilian that plays for Leeds. If he was just Ralph who plays for Leeds, I don't think people would be that excited about him, you know what I mean? But it's just one of those things.
Ralph, I love that. I'm going to keep calling that from that one. Fucking wee Ralph. But yeah, Dan, it's a mad one, isn't it? Because I think the Klopp system, or the Klopp way, and maybe the FSG way, I should say, is to get those players right at the sweet spot where they're about to explode, where they're just about, where they know once they make that move to Liverpool, they can then kick on and become more of a household name. Like you look through pretty much all Klopp signings, even at Dortmund back when he was there, he has got a tremendous track record in doing that. So, what were your initial thoughts on it when you first seen it?
Again, it's just a bit. It's one of those daft Twitter threads that you see. Until it's in black and white from the club, I wasn't really too fussed on it. I mean, a lot of people turn their nose up when we sign players from lower clubs, and Robbo's a perfect example, like you said. So I wasn't thinking, oh, that'd be a terrible signing. I was thinking, if we did sign him, it'd be exactly what you just said. It'd be something that Klopp would probably see as a project. Realistically, he's not going to get in the first team ahead of all the 4 that we've got, and then ahead of anyone else that we might sign. So, yeah, I didn't have too much of a reaction to it, but I was a bit like, that money could be spent on something better though at the same time. But again, I didn't believe it, and then evidently it fell through, didn't it, yesterday or today? So yeah, I didn't think too much into it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, rather really just put another comment there. Jarrod Bowen's a good player, but definitely think we should be aiming higher. However, I can't see us meeting West Ham's demands of 30 to 40 mil. Yeah, I understand this completely, because Steve, when you think about what Liverpool have achieved over the last couple of years, is there a case that we should be looking a bit higher? I mean, obviously, like we said, Klopp is so good. I've got a track record of being so good at getting these players at the right time and making them into hugely better players than they were, albeit they were good players beforehand, like Jota, who's starting to bang in a few goals last year, like after even in COVID time. So, should we be looking a bit higher than that, or is it a case of maybe the ones that we've been looking for aren't available or whatever, or aren't attainable, and we're having to maybe settle for a Jarrod Bowen? I don't know.
Yeah, there could be a bit of that. You could find Bowen's 3 or 4 places down Jurgen Klopp's shortlist if even the shortlist even exists. Yeah, I mean, Rafinha, we've just mentioned him there. He probably is that middle ground because obviously we're not going to go out and sign Mbappe or Haaland as much as we'd love to. We're not going to do it. Bowen is probably a little bit of an underwhelming player, whereas Rafinha's kind of got that middle ground. I think I agree that I think we probably should be aiming a little bit higher. But Bowen has one thing which Klopp might not want to think about it too much, but we do have to worry about the homegrown quota. Now, if we were to offload Shaqiri or offload Origi, and then we were to bring in Bowen, that ticks a box. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a pain. Whatever way you land on that discussion, it is a little bit of a pain that you've got to worry about nationalities of your players and stuff like that. But I think that might also be a part of it. But again, it's one of those how much interest was actually there. Like, is Bowen a name on a piece of paper, or has it been watched for the last 18 months? It's very different. We don't know in terms of which one it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, let's have a look at the comments here because there's a few people who've just been touching on that. So Doug's just said Bowen, Origi swap. West Ham are interested in Origi. If it was something like that, I'm completely on board with that completely because I think Origi obviously he's had a lot of fucking amazing moments for us over the past couple of years, but I think he is at the time where he needs, like you said with other players, needs a clean break like Zacharias and stuff. I think he's another one that just needs a clean break, go somewhere else, see what he can do in London or with West Ham or whatever, and we get Bowen who's going to come on. Like there's times like the last couple of years where I've seen Origi coming on and you go, oh fucking hell, Origi's coming on. You never want that, do you? You never want a sub player and you're going, oh fuck's sake, why is he bringing him on? Just because he's got a bit of pace and he's got a bit of height and whatever. You want someone who's going to come onto the field and maybe like a Harvey Elliott who's going to come on and go, right, I'm going to get stuck into this game and actually show what I'm about and run everywhere and try and make stuff happen. And I don't think Origi has quite got that fire in the belly at the moment, has he, Dan, to kind of give us that?
Sorry, mate, my sound's going to miss that last bit. What did you say?
I was just saying, like, it's probably better to have Harvey Elliott coming off the bench rather than Origi, just to give us a bit more creativity and have that fire in the belly.
Sorry, mate, it's crackling on this side. I can't. You were like underwater. I couldn't hear you. From what I gathered, you were saying, is it worth Origi swapping for Jarrod? Is that? Give me a nod if that's right.
Am I alright for you, Ste, or?
Yeah, I can understand you.
Go on, I think I've got you now.
Go ahead, sound. Origi coming off the bench or Harvey Elliott coming off the bench? Elliott's the better option, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, I'd say so, mate. Yeah, I think Origi's time's done, to be honest. Yeah, like you said, he's had a lot of class moments for the club, but can he really do it? Did he do anything last season at all? Did he score more than 3 or 4 goals, Origi? I can't remember them at all. I think Harvey Elliott, I don't know what the score is with him, whether he's going to be going out again on loan or whatever, but he had a blinding season, didn't he? I'd definitely consider him for the squad depth and also the FA Cup runs. Those domestic cups, the fact that we just don't get any... We don't seem to put any effort into them at all, and we've got the quality to be able to be fighting for everything. So I think if we could offload the likes of Origi and bring those young players in, I think it'd be paid dividends for us this season.
Yeah, and rivalry aside, just said that Harvey Barnes would be a good one. I mean, I think there's more talk today on Twitter. Well, like you said, whatever you can read into that, you can. It's usually shite, isn't it, on Twitter, to be fair. Pedro Neto for Wolves. I mean, he is class. He is class, to be fair. He would be a boss signing. But Jay's just put a comment in there. Every day there's a new name linked. Fakir today, just have a day off. Must have been over
Fakir again.
Linked.
Why did Fakir not come to us last time? Was it he failed a medical, didn't he?
Yeah, allegedly the video was all done. Yeah, apparently. Well, Steve might know more.
Yeah.
It was a weird conspiracy. Basically, the sort of sounds from Liverpool was that he'd failed the medical. The sounds from Fekir's end was that no, he hasn't. But obviously, that's what they're going to say because they want to get him to sign for another club. And weirdly, he's not really had any injury problems since the Liverpool medical. So maybe we missed a trick there. Maybe we didn't. You know.
Yeah. Did he play? He probably didn't play.
Yeah, I think even if it is like we didn't sign him obviously for injury worries. We can't take risks on players with like we've talked about players that are so good in our squad that looking at them going, are you going to stay fit? And we've got if you've got one or two of them, I think you're all right. But when you start getting into the realms of 3, 4, and 5s, and they're actually like you players that you're relying on, then you're in a bit of deep shit. So we need to try and stay clear of that and look at. I mean, I say all the time, availability is the best ability. And Gini Wijnaldum was a case in point for that he was always there, 50 games odd every year, just an absolute machine. I think we need to be looking at those type of stats when we do sign players, and I think that's why Bowen does fit that bracket because, like I said, he did appear in every league game for West Ham last season. But boys, let's move on to that's what I mean. So that'll be. I mean, there's undoubtedly going to be a fucking shitload more names before now and the end of the transfer window, and it's probably 99% bullshit, like we said. So, boys, there's another friendly tomorrow against Mainz, which is a 90-minute game, so two 45-minute halves. So that'll be another good run out for the rest of the lads, like Kanate, and I think Klopp said Van Dijk and Gomez won't be involved in this one. It might be a bit too soon, so we won't see them just yet. But I was doing a little quick maths earlier. 23 days until we play Norwich. What are you feeling about it today? Are you excited to see Verge back and Kanate and Gomez and Matip and all the lot of them?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you have a summer and you bring a high-profile player in like Kanate, you'd expect him to be the one you're most looking forward to seeing. And I am looking forward to seeing Kanate, but I can't really put into words how exciting it's going to be to have Van Dijk and Gomez back, and also Matip as well. You know, can't forget about him. But yeah, Van Dijk changes the way we are as a team, the way he plays, even down to the simple diagonal balls that he plays to Sadio Mane. He just changes. He just raises everyone else on the pitch around him. It's going to be unbelievable. Yeah, it's got to be those two players I'm looking forward to seeing the most. And I don't know, a part of me has got a keen eye on Simicast as well. I want to see how he does this season.
You wouldn't happen to be a left footer, would you, Steve? Because I know left footers tend to fit. No, right footer. No. Oh, sound. Just like the look of Simicast. No, to be fair, I agree with you because, like you said, he had a bit of a dodgy one last year and just stuff wasn't going right for him. So I'm hoping this year we can actually see what he's made of because he's definitely got that quality. Danny, are you most excited to see for the start of the season? Just under 3 weeks to go.
Van Dijk's the obvious answer there, but I'm excited to see Mane get back to winning ways. I think it was just such a subpar end of the season for him compared to what he's usually like, and I don't know what it was with him, but he started really well and then just sloped off, didn't he? I'd love to see him come back, and I'm excited to see him bang a few goals in again, and because he starts banging them in again, and you know we only need Salah to be half on form then. Do you know what I mean? We were relying on him so heavily last season, and then it seems that Firmino starts looking a bit bad as well, but he's the facilitator, isn't he? So yeah, I'd say Mane's the person I'm looking at the most to see something special from this season, because I know we can do it.
That's what I mean, and it only takes like if he has a absolute blind start to the season, all those doubts from last year where it's like, is he over the hill? And you know, there's been absolutely loads of shit, hasn't he, about like Mane, is he off next year? Is he off the year after? Is COVID fucked him? There's like so many conspiracy theories about Sadio Mane, and you're like, well, he's more than capable of turning up any given day and just banging an hat-trick because he is that good. But for me personally, I'm looking like Salah again because I feel like I think he's had 7 weeks off. 7 weeks, and he fucking hell, fans back in the stadium. I honestly think he's going to think, right, I'm going to be aiming for that first season at Liverpool. Those numbers, I think it was 44 in all comps. He's going to have his eye firmly set on trying to absolutely blast that out the water, which is going to be don't get me wrong, it's going to be fucking difficult to do. But he's just that type of player, isn't he? Where he always wants to better himself. And I think last year he got his second best goal return out of his 4 years. So he'll be looking to definitely better that, which was, I think, was 31. So yeah, those two obviously it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, I think Mane's had 5 weeks off as well, so that's like unheard of for him. I think the last few years he's had like probably like a week or two, which is like nothing really. But he's had double in comparison this year, so he's going to be fresh as anything. So he hasn't got that excuse anymore that he's overworked. He's just going to have to fucking do it. And like we said, he wouldn't be surprised if he did, would be. So no, boys, boss that. But before we go, let's obviously, Dan, we've got a little partnership going, so I just wanted to give you the floor and tell everyone like what designs you're working on and what you've been doing and where we can find you on Twitter and Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, so I've been doing prints for like 12 to 18 months now, mostly LFC related, but other designs as well, like international players, and it's generally just iconic moments that I've found from when I was a kid to now. And I'll just draw them in any way that I can that looks good, but they've been doing quite well, and it's half turned into like a little business for me. So obviously, when I don't know whether I reached out to you to send you one just for your podcast studio, wasn't it? So just one of them, but you can find me on all platforms, Cali Design, and my website is calidesigns.co.uk. And I'm going to move from doing just the prints into t-shirts. I've got an example of the Mbappe one that I've done recently. This is the sample. I don't know whether you can see that, Steve. It's not Timiskas. If it was Timiskas, I'd have my first customer there.
That's another one.
Get a Timiskas and steal by 10 of them.
That's it, yeah. But the sample, I've been hesitant to go into t-shirts for a while just because the cost of storage and you have to order in bulk, and the prints haven't been too great in the past. But I finally found a decent supplier that can help me do that now and drop ship them. So loads of t-shirts coming out soon of my new designs. If you don't follow me online, just have a quick look, and I'm sure there's something on there that you'll find that you like the look of. I'm looking forward to sponsoring the pod, mate. I think we had a discussion as well, didn't we, about the cost of running a podcast isn't free. So, you know, I'm happy to support you as well as getting that support back to getting some exposure to your followers. So I'm looking forward to getting started with the new season.
Boss lad, yeah. Can't wait to have you on board, and I think Jay's just echoed that. He said everyone have a look at Cali stuff. It's incredible, and it is.
Oh, nice one, Jay.
Cheers, boss. Like I think I've got the Jarrod Olympiacos one upstairs. And there's just so many, like Van Dijk, and there's just have a look on the website. But I think the link is in the description actually. If you want to go and have a look after the video whenever you're watching this.
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Boys,
it's at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, but boys, boss, we'll leave it there. We've done 42 minutes there, so that was class. Nice one for jumping on, Steve. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll get you on again very soon if you fancy it. Try and get your Simicast signed shirt or something, lad.
So I'll be on every week.
If he fucking is boss this season, I'll be like, yeah, there you go. Steve told us all. I'll clip this video and be like, see, Nostradamus Carson. Straight on.
That's the one.
Nice one, Steve. Nice one to obviously Dan for jumping on first time for you as well. So on the YouTube channel. So nice one, boys, for jumping on, and we'll leave it there. Nice one for everyone in the comments. There's been fucking loads there, to be fair, but nice one for that. We'll be back again. I don't know when we'll be back. Probably a few more days. I'll probably drop a little tweet saying when my next back. But there's a load of new stuff coming up. Jay's got a boss story of a crew coming up very soon. About the story, obviously the new kit from 96, 97 to now, which is the new one, which is boss, and he's done a whole host of interviews with loads of boss names. So yeah, excited to have a look at that. And I've got a few coming up as well myself, but yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, boys, nice one. We'll leave it there, and I'll see you all again soon.
Cheers, mate.